Welcome to what's the name of our show?
I don't know. The one show that talks about random topics in lacrosse.
Is that it? We're the one show that talks about random topics.
Not the one show. I don't know. We're a show that talks about random lacrosse topics year round.
Year round is the key.
We're the only lacrosse podcast that records Monday or Tuesday nights close to year round.
We're just going to keep making it more and more oddly specific until we're the only one that does it. I like it. All right. Welcome to the Run Out. I am Neil Barrett. He is Brandon Hooten. We got a lot to get into with week 4 of the NLL happening this week, but as always, before we get into it, Brandon, how was your week, man?
Another successful week, Didn't watch much of the games, unfortunately. Got sucked into decorating cookies Saturday night, which was fun, but, missed some good lacrosse from what I saw. Went to the Bronco game yesterday.
Did you make some good cookies?
Yeah, of course I made good cookies, dude. I can't say my decorating's the best, but they tasted good, and that's all that matters. So
baking skills good, art skills down.
Well, to be fair, most times, like when we do it with my family, it's just sprinkles. This time, it was like we had to use icing and try to they wanted to make art. And I was like, I'm just trying to eat the cookies. I don't care what they look like. And so they're over there, they're decorating all these cool things. And I'm just like, I don't know, here's a color with some sprinkles on top. It looks pretty good to me. So, yeah. But yeah, went to the Bronco game. Wasn't a fun game.
You went.
But it was a fun game. Wasn't a fun outcome, but it was still fun to be there. No snow, which was the entire purpose of us buying tickets to that game. So that sucked.
You wanted a snow game.
Yes, more than anything, just once in my life. I just want to be out there just freezing in snow, watching football. I don't care where it is. I would like it to be at home, but if I have to travel for it, I will at some point. But
I'm not gonna lie to you, that sounds like my hell.
I mean, it sucks when I'm shooting. Like the last couple of years, I've shot some snow lacrosse games. That does suck, I will say. But going as a fan, getting bundled up, have a maybe a hot chocolate with you or something like that. You can't tell me that didn't sound awesome for one quarter. The other 3 might suck, but
all right, I'll give you a quarter.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I kind of regret this, and it's probably not the best, but.
I don't want to rub salt in your wound, but the Carolina Panthers are leading their division.
What's their record now? I didn't see.
I think it's 8-7, 9-7 maybe.
Good for them.
8-7.
Good for them.
It's so funny because I think even the most diehard Carolina fans don't think oh, they're going to go win a Super Bowl or anything. We're just so happy to not have a team that sucks.
Yep.
Mediocre. It's solid.
Hey, Bryce Young's he's playing well enough, I think, to keep his job. So, happy for him at least, but.
We'll see what happens. Like I said, if they can actually hold on and make the playoffs, that'll be impressive considering where they have been the last few years. So.
Yep.
I will take that, even if I would love to actually see them make a Super Bowl. Let's move into some lacrosse stuff now. We had NLL Week 4 this weekend. A handful of games. Only another weekend where we don't see every team in the league. Kind of irritating, or even. I mean, I guess maybe it is a majority of the teams, but it doesn't feel like a majority of the league was playing this week. But we'll start with the game Friday night where the Vancouver Warriors beat the Oshawa Firewolves 8-6. This game is another one of the games this season that has been relatively low scoring. Oshawa led 4-1 after the first quarter, and before Vancouver kind of clicked it back into high gear. I don't know if you can call 8 points a high gear, but they did do enough. They were playing Doug Jamieson, so I don't know. Part of me is a little torn on how good is this? I know it's early. I know they should, in theory, get better on the offensive end, but part of me is like, and again, they were playing Doug Jamieson, but like part of me is just like, man, they played 3 games. They scored 8 in one and 7 in another, and then 15 in the other, equaling their total. So I don't know. What did you think about this game?
I mean, I think it was fine. Again, you're playing Doug Jamieson, who's top 3 in the world. You're still without Alex Dathakis, which still's gonna hurt them overall. And they still pulled it out, and especially, I mean, they were down, 5-2 in the third, and they get 6 straight. Like, I mean, had it not been for that last power play goal with 8 seconds left by the Firewolves, like you're looking at an 8-5 win, and yet another 5-goal game by the Firewolves, essentially, which is their average. So I don't know, another disappointing week from Oshawa, but again, you're playing Vancouver, so like can't expect much, but you do got to feel for a guy like Doug Jamieson who's doing everything he can back there. I mean, this is unfortunately a common occurrence for their offense right now, and who knows, maybe this is just a slump, and at some point they break out of it and they start scoring 12, 15 goals a game, whatever it is. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I just felt like everyone was kind of off overall, but at the end of the day, all it took was 7 goals and they had 8. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I feel like guys like Curtis Dixon and Jesse King and Keegan Ball and all of these dudes are good enough players that it shouldn't still be this hard. I know it's going to take some time to gel and work. And maybe it's my own excitement kind of backfiring on me, my own excitement to see this team and see how they play. And again, like we said, it was Dougie Jamieson. Like, I get it. I just feel like with the way that Oshawa is playing right now, it feels not great that a team this offensively inclined can't put up more points. Again, I know it's Doug Jamieson and he was good, but
Yeah, but I mean, this is kind of, you need these kind of gritty wins against the better goaltenders in the league. I mean, we saw what they did to Vegas last week. I would argue that's what you're supposed to do to a team like Vegas, unfortunately. And as long, I mean, yeah, it's not pretty. You'd obviously want more, especially for guys that have played together for quite a while. But, I mean, Keegan Ball continues to impress, which I think, not that anyone thought he wasn't going to, but I think when you bring in guys like Jesse King and Curtis Dixon, you kind of wonder, like, okay, what is the breakup going to be? And Keegan Ball has continued to be that guy for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if nothing else, I'm glad to see him continue to do that. And you still got 2 points from Curtis, 2 from Jesse, and then you got a bunch of, Marcus Clarich had 3 himself, plus a bunch of other guys had, Adam Jordan-Beatty's had 2, and Reese Callie's had 1. So, sure, it's not a flashy win, but, like, they count the same at the end of the day. You did it against one of the better goalies in the league. The biggest thing is just going to be, when they play the teams that they're really supposed to hammer, they got to then hammer it to kind of equal that out. But I would like to see them kind of find a good balance at some point around the 11, 12 goal mark, because I think they are capable of that and probably much more. But again, I liked how they battled. I mean, they had a bad first half offensively, only 2 goals. And then you come out, not only was your offense good, but your defense was locked in as well. You outscored them 6-2. Like, that's, if they can find a way to even get, an extra goal or 2 in the second quarter, the first quarter, like, all of a sudden we're at 9, 10 goals easy. And again, that's not even including, like, all of these guys individually on the roster can go off for, 6+ points a night whenever they want for the most part. So, yeah, I mean, maybe more to be desired visually, but they took down the team that they're supposed to take down. And again, I just can't stress enough, Oshawa's got to figure something out, because they look very disjointed right now. They're not just losing games by a score. They're getting dominated start to finish to a degree. Which is not, especially like we talked about a couple weeks ago and last week, like having guys like Alex Simmons and Ty Kurtz and all these guys, I'm like, something's got to drop at some point. Dyson Williams has to get going at some point, as well as more of a, I'm here. Like, he had 2 points in this game, which is cool. We got to get that to 3 or 4, in my opinion.
No, I would agree with you. I think that you're right that at some point you're going to have to win if you want to win a championship. You're going to have to win ugly games. You're going to have to win games when you're not at your best. And excuse me, luckily for them, they got CDB behind them, and he is going to keep them in games that they probably shouldn't be in. He's going to give them an opportunity to win games that they probably shouldn't win. He made 48 saves in this game. Like you're saying, in the first, especially the first quarter, but even into the second quarter, you know, if it's not him back there, who knows what ends up with happening in this game? Maybe not Albany, Oshawa gets up by too much, and Vancouver just doesn't have the gas to get back into it. But he did, and they did, so that worked out. I'm glad that you mentioned Keegan Ball, because we were talking about him in the Lax Lifers Discord about. I don't know if he is the most underrated player, but he's certainly up there. Playing, I think he's played in Vancouver his whole career. So being a West Coast guy has probably hurt him. Being in Vancouver, where they have largely throughout his career not been a major threat, has probably hurt him some. But definitely feels like one of if not the most underrated player in the league. A guy completely capable of just absolutely taking over a game and winning it for you. So, but then yeah, the Firewolves are kind of the opposite side of that same coin, about like Dougie Jamieson's going to keep them in games that they probably shouldn't be in. The way they were playing this week, they shouldn't have been in this game, but they were largely because of Doug Jamieson. So, you know, they got to figure that offense out. It does, like you said, disjointed is such a good word for it. It just doesn't look right at all. They started well. They came out well, and then it was like that momentum flipped, and they just lost everything. They couldn't get anything going again. So, really interesting to see. Let's move on to Saturday night's first game. We streamed this in the Lax Lifers Discord. It was a lot of fun. We actually ended up streaming all three of the rest of the weekend's games because we were enjoying ourselves. But we started with the Rochester Nighthawks beating the Philadelphia Wings 15-11. I think the place to start is Connor Fields being Connor Fields. 11 points on 5 goals and 7 assists. Just an insane game from him.
Yep. I mean, he won MVP for a reason. And, I mean, you give him... I mean, they already had a stacked offense. You give him another guy like Zed Williams, who had 3 points in this game. First 2 goals of the season. Like, I mean, he's going to have, no pun intended, he's going to have a field day. Like, every single game. I mean, maybe I did intend for that pun, but it's funny nonetheless, so we're going to rock with it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
like
every single game he can do this if he really wants to. So, and I thought too, like it's kind of funny seeing Brendan O'Neill being turned into an assist guy. Last week he had 2 assists against Colorado. He has 5 assists this week against Roch. So, not that he can't score. I just think it's kind of cool to see his game deviate a little bit, to be like, hey, this is what you're going to allow me to do. I mean, they still put up 11 goals. That's nothing to scoff at. And on top of that, we got some great fights. We got a goalie fight, which is, I mean, seeing the social numbers go crazy from like accounts that don't ever talk about lacrosse is always hilarious to me. And then you always get the people that are like, does this happen all the time? I know you're not fond of the fighting, but I thought it was awesome. Especially a guy like Ryan. Now, granted, Ryan Hartley probably shouldn't be taking punches to the head with his injury history. But nonetheless, it was kind of fun for the fans.
He wasn't just taking punches to the head. He was making saves with it at least 3 times in this game. We watched him essentially headbutt the ball, and we were like, dude.
Yeah.
I also saw that since 2012, there have been 2 goalie fights in the NLL. Ryan Hartley was involved in both of them.
Yeah. Well, and it's always funny too when he takes off his gear and then he's like, the skinny little guy in this big old
Yeah,
gear,
yeah.
and I mean, what a wild time. But I'm here for it. If it helps bring some viewers to it, especially because like this was a good game as well. Like it wasn't just like it was a bad game, and so we're just gonna have a fight. Like I saw someone on Twitter say that like it was staged, obviously staged, and they're getting paid to fight. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think a guy with concussion history is gonna be like taking money to go get punched in the face again. But hey, to each their own, I guess.
No, what was funny is like we were watching, and I posted a clip of like us of me watching it. I don't know why they fought. There was like the little kerfuffle that was over, and guys were kind of and then all of a sudden the refs just start running, and it's like, what? Like I don't know why. It wasn't even that big of like a fight. The kind of the early mix up.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a big crazy fight. It was just a couple of guys more pushing and shoving, and I don't even really know if there were any punches thrown or anything. And then all of a sudden the goalies are fighting. It was like, what?
Yeah. But I mean, if this is something that Brian Hartley does from time to time, I could see him just being like, if you're down, I'm down. Like, like especially if you're like Nick Mood is always you're already losing. Like, hey, let's go at it. I guess.
It was interesting to watch this game because I don't feel like anybody really played all that poorly. Both goalies were good. You had good offense from both teams. You had good defense from both teams. It really just felt like these are two teams in two very different places. And like it was just kind of like the natural result. I'm glad that you brought up Brennan O'Neill. I thought he looked good. And one of my thoughts, being more of a field guy, was, oh man, this is going to make him real dangerous in the summer. If I was a Denver Outlaws fan, I'd be watching this and going, oh, okay. The other again, Denver Outlaws. The other guy who really stood out in this game was Jake Pacino. He was everywhere, doing everything. He had 9 loose balls. He had 3 goals. Just could not be stopped. He was incredible. Again, Denver Outlaws fans watching that, like, wow, okay, cool. Rochester Nighthawks fans also like, wow, okay, cool. So yeah, I don't know what else there is really to talk about in this game beyond that. This, like I said, it was a lot. Both teams had 50 shots on goal. Like, it was up and down. It was fast. It was fun. Goalie fights. It is really fun to watch Zed Williams play. I feel like he was doing some stuff. I was like, man, I can't believe you're doing this. I know we talked about it last week. I know it's been 10 months. I know it's like a relatively normal time for the injury that he had, but like when you know the injury that he had and then you see him and he moves so well. I mean, he moves so well for being whatever he is, 6'4", 240, 6'3", 240, whatever it is. He moves well for that, period. But then also coming off that injury, it's like, jeez.
Buffalo Bills legend, Zed Williams.
Buffalo Bills legend. Well, I mean,
I also noticed, I know you'll appreciate this. I've noticed he's been kind of changing the gear he's wearing year over year. He was wearing STX gloves this week. I don't know if he wore them last week, but the black STX gloves. I know he used to be a Maverick athlete.
Oh, you're
so
right.
I'm not totally sure what all that. Again, this is not related to like his performance. I just thought it was funny because I take note of those brands and stuff like that. And he's wearing black shoes now as well, which I think is the perfect touch to like the dark Rochester uniforms, which is cool.
Not only is he wearing black shoes, they're Kyrie Irving's Anta.
Yeah,
I think it's pronounced Anta shoes, which I found really interesting, and I wondered, and I have no way of knowing, but I wondered if it had anything to do with Kyrie's native heritage and stuff, and if it was kind of a connection point there. But also those were really cool. I'm going to do a video about those shoes. They're really cool. They're all black, but they actually have like an iridescent
Yeah.
thing to them. They're really, really cool looking shoes. But yeah, no, I did notice the black gear. I did not notice it was STX. Like you said, he was traditionally has been a Maverick athlete for a while. So again, kind of irrelevant to the point of this game, but as a gear nerd, I'm interested.
Yep.
I would love to see if that means he, moved or whatever, but let's move over to the next game of the weekend, which saw the Saskatchewan Rush beat the Georgia Swarm 7-4. This game was tough to watch. Up until about 3 minutes left, this looked like it was going to set the record for the least combined goals in an NL game of all time. The Rush scored a couple of late goals to actually get them over that mark, but it was rough. I don't know what to take from this game. I think we were moderately high on both of these teams, maybe not championship high, but like
I wasn't high on Georgia. I think I had them as finishing bottom 3, if I remember correctly, because of stuff like this. Like, we're talking about Saskatchewan, who gave up 13 goals week 1, and it took 4 quarters for you to get 2. It's just,
wow.
I mean, it was a tough game overall. Both teams 0 for 3 on power play. Georgia was 0 for 4. At one point, I turned the game on at just past halftime mark, and I thought it was like, the first half still, based on the score. I was like, oh, it must be first quarter, and then I was like, wait, what does that say? Like, it was one of those. And I mean, again, Sask's offense is just, again, they're playing Brett Dobson, so it's like not a bad thing. 7 goals isn't awful, but it is kind of funny seeing the trend of like these really low scoring games this year. And maybe someone has better statistics out there that can tell us like if this is normal, but I feel like there's a ton of like 8-goal games, 7-goal games, and winning a game with 7 goals is kind of crazy by itself.
I gotta remember who said it. I want to say it was Graham Perot. I can't remember who said it.
It probably was, but
said that goals per game are down just over 3 goals a game. Like,
wow.
Down. So like,
I wonder what's causing that.
Substantial decline. So far, it's still relatively early, although we're starting.
But that's still a huge jump, though. Like we're not talking about like that's a 1-goal rust thing. We're talking about 3 whole possessions at minimum. So one of the things that we discussed, especially, in fact, I think it actually came up during this game when we were in Lax Lifers watching these games, was obviously we can't prove any of this, but the thought came up about like the so-called bandits rule about having defenders in the crease deflecting shots, that in a weird way it might have actually somewhat backfired, in that the thought was there's less people in the goal, in the way of the goal, should make for maybe, hopefully, more goals, but that maybe what's actually happening is that goalies can see the ball better and are making, because not only have we seen fewer goals, we've also seen very, very good. I don't have any numbers to back this up, but it feels like goalie performances have like shot through the roof simultaneously. Yeah. A lot of 50 save games. It feels like even like the ones that aren't quite 50, they're at 48, and I'm like, that's. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're gonna. I think CDB this week had 48. Like, you're getting peppered, but I think you're right. I think that there's just a lot of clean saves happening. Now that I'm kind of replaying some games, like they're all saving it fairly cleanly.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying it is for sure that or isn't or anything. It was just something that was presented, and it was like, oh, that does kind of make a lot of sense that could be what's happening here. again, not suggesting that the rule needs to be changed or anything, or it does kind of feel like one of those things that you need to see a couple of seasons before you can really kind of make an assessment. But just an interesting note to think about. But yeah, this game, do you feel good about either of these teams?
I mean, I still feel okay about Saskatchewan. I just think they're a team that's truly in a slump, if I'm being honest. Which is, if you're winning games in a slump, that's a good thing. You can't complain about that. Again, like every team, I like to see more consistency out of them based on who's on their roster. But I mean, you hold Lyle to 1 point, no goals. I mean, that's always going to be a win in my book. Shane Jackson, 1 assist, same thing. Like, there are positives defensively for them. As for Georgia, like I said earlier, I wasn't high on them coming into the year just because I feel like they don't have the same firepower they have had in recent years to play the bigger teams like Sask. A game like Colorado next week, I like them a lot more than I do against Sask. There's a couple other teams, same thing, that I'm like, I think they'll be okay, but it's gonna literally rely on like Lyle getting going, which should not necessarily be the case, unfortunately.
I was trying to find the exact number. I believe Lyle is 1 for 24 on the season.
Well, I thought he had a good game. Was it a week ago that he had a good game? I'm not remembering now. I swore he had like a bounce back game that everyone was like, "Oh, he's back." Against Oshawa.
I don't think he did.
I'm pulling it up right now. Maybe he didn't, and I'm misremembering. So
yeah, he
had 1 goal, but he had 4 points because he had 1 and 3 last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so he's one for 24 right now.
And he's a guy, again, I'm not worried about Lyle Thompson. Like, it's Lyle Thompson. I do wonder, like, just like some of the roster turnover that they had, is that affecting the offense more than I think we probably gave it credit for?
Well, clearly we weren't giving Andrew Q enough credit.
I was obviously biased now, but I also just think Andrew Q is truly one of the better players in the league. I think if this team, I know it won't happen, I think they need someone like Connor Kelly. Not that helps the left side, obviously, because then you got him and Lyle both, or excuse me, not that it helps the lefties, it helps the left side. But they just need a little bit more action going on. Like, if your whole thing is based on one guy, like all we have to do is shell out for one guy and the rest you can't beat us, cool. Especially a guy like Frank in goal. Like, whether it's 4 goals, 11 goals he gives up, like, I'm pretty confident in him down the stretch of most games. And like, I know he gave up 3 in that fourth quarter, but like, again, it was far too late at that point. So I don't know. They're a lot like Oshawa to me. Like, they just have so many questions that, like, until I see it from them, I can't really trust them to do much, at least against the top teams in the league. I'll say, like I just said, I think they'll have a better matchup this week against Colorado. There's a couple others I think they'd match up well with, but it's just that's kind of the best thing I can say about them right now.
Yeah. We're talking about goalie performance. It feels nuts that Brett Dobson only gave up 6 goals and they lost.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like a lot of these goalies in losses are playing very well. Like I gave credit to Doug Jamieson. I feel bad for Brett Dobson as well. Like, that this is a game you should win every single time. Like, to give up 6 and still put up 39. I mean, he outsaved Frank. It's just, it's so funny because in my head, like, those two things should be related, and they're obviously not for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. That, I don't know why that reminded me. Did you see the behind the back save from Dougie Jameson?
I did.
Dude, I It's got to be mostly luck, like that he just kind of threw his hand back, like he didn't know where the ball was. He just kind of like threw his hand back, but also like, you know, you know it's back there somewhere. You just kind of.
I mean, it's a lot of risk because if you hit it the wrong way, so I applaud even just the effort to be like, I'm gonna try it, and he made it look like he just meant to do it. Just here we go.
The one thing I'll say though is you say it's a lot of risk, but also like if you don't do it, it's probably going in anyway. So
yeah, true.
The risk reward is probably more reward, even though you're right, you can send it in. Like it's probably going in if you don't catch it anyway. So like, what do you have to lose really? But I mean, just an insane move. But again, not a ton to talk about in this game. 11 goals. I mean that would be a pretty decent defensive performance from a single team most years. Apparently not this year. Apparently this year you have to keep a team below 5 in order to win a game, but you know. So let's move on to the final game of the weekend, where the Las Vegas Desert Dogs beat the Ottawa Black Bears 10-9 in their home opener. This game was an absolute roller coaster. Vegas was up 9-1, and it looked like it was just going to get uglier. And then suddenly it was 9-9. I shouldn't say suddenly. It took a little while, but it was 9-9, and I thought we were headed to overtime before Mitch Jones scored with about 2 minutes left and kind of iced this game. But a lot of fun to watch. I wasn't even planning on staying up and watching this whole game. I thought I might go to bed at halftime, but Ottawa had already kind of clawed back. It was 9-4, I think is what it was at half, and you felt like, oh man, that's pretty good. If they can get another 1 or 2 right after the break, like they might be back in this. And sure enough, they did, and clawed all the way back to tie it up at 9. Lane and Kels, we have kind of clowned a little bit, and I guess ultimately when it's 9-9, when they claw back, maybe you deserve it a little bit. But he had 48 saves. Rob Hellier had 6 points. Mitch Jones had 7. Pretty good game. And you and I have talked a lot about them needing Jeff Teat. Not to say that Jeff Teat was bad in this game by any stretch, but he didn't have to have the 9-10, although they didn't win either. So maybe they did need 9 or 10 out of him. But what'd you think? Chris Cloutier had 5 assists. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I picked this game as my game of the week for a reason, because I just felt like these two teams are pretty evenly matched overall. And I know it didn't look like that for the first quarter and a half, but like, man, what a run Ottawa went on. Like when they tied it up at 9, I was like, if they come back and win this game, that might be game of the year already. Just, I mean, absolutely insane. I know moral victories don't count for anything, but they have to feel good that they even, I mean, being down 9-1, like, I can't imagine what's going through your head, especially as an offensive player, being like, they have 9 and we put up 1 as a team. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Jeff T had 19 shots on goal, so it wasn't like he was not doing anything, and he still had 5 points. Like, between him and Hellier, 11 points combined. You know, it's pretty good in my opinion. You got 4 from Larson Sundown, and a couple other guys had a point or 2. So they had a chance in this one. Obviously, this is Landon Kell's best game of the year by far, which was a welcome sign from him. Especially, you look at a game like against Vancouver where he had, I think it was 15 goals allowed and 10 saves or something like that. In this game, 9 goals allowed, 47 saves. That's what you want to see out of him, especially when there's questions on their back end already defensively. He's got to step up, and he absolutely did that. So credit to him. And again, Zach Higgins, I think, played pretty well. I mean, 10 goals allowed. It's tough when, you have a bad first half, and second half you really lock in. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say about Zach Higgins. He got chased twice. They pulled him twice. They pulled him for a minute or two, probably were talking to him on the bench or something, just kind of getting a feel for his head. And then I didn't even realize he was back in. Like I said, we were watching it in Lax Lifers, and one of the one of the goals got scored and they were like, he's got to be done right now. And I was like, what are you talking about? They already pulled him. And they were like, no, they put him back in. And so then they pulled him again for the rest of the second half. And then he came back in the second half. And yeah, it was a night and day difference. So you gotta kind of give him some credit for being able to put that first half behind him and lock in and end up the game. Like you said, if you didn't watch the game, you didn't know how it had gone down. Yeah, like you said, 33 saves, 10 goals allowed, like not a bad performance at all from him. So,
well, and especially when you factor in that, I mean, his offense had one goal with what, 2 minutes, under 3 minutes left in the second. Like, yeah. Again, giving up 9 goals and a half, always bad. I'm not saying it's not, but like, it is tough when your offense literally can't buy a bucket, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see they got those 3 at the end, and that to me seemed like that really rejuvenated them. It's like, okay, let's just calm it down. Like, it is what it is. Unfortunately, we know Vegas can put up goals. Like, we talked about that all off season after they signed the guys they did, that they're gonna be able to score. Which is why it's like credit to their defense as well for locking them down in the second half. I mean, it took close to 30 minutes for Vegas to score. I mean, really even more. I mean, over 30 minutes after that second quarter. So I like the fight from Ottawa. I like the fight from Vegas as well. But again, both these teams I still have a little bit of doubt in right now. But it'll be interesting to see because I do think they're matched up pretty evenly.
Yeah, and I think this game more or less proved it. It was a 9-1 run from Vegas, and then it was an 8-1 run from Ottawa. Like they're kind of mirror images of each other, and that was one of the things that we talked about last week when we were talking about looking forward to this game, projecting forward. Not that we were necessarily looking forward to it, although we weren't not looking forward to it, but kind of projecting at what we might see was both of these teams have really good offenses, question marks on defense, and how that was all going to play out. And I think that kind of bore itself out. It was a good game. It was a fun game. I was really kind of hoping that we were going to get some overtime. I was enjoying kind of the drama when Larson Sundown scored that goal to tie it up at 9. It was just like, holy crap, how have we gotten to this point? And
and that was with 9 minutes left in the fourth too, so there was still a ton of time left. And then all of a sudden every single possession felt like, oh, is this the one? Is this the? And then it just kind of kept going until Mitch Jones finally got that one with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and actually when Mitch Jones scored, there was still almost 2.5 minutes left, and I really felt like, okay, Ottawa can get one here, and we can still go to overtime and make. Not that it hadn't been fun, but like we could make this like a really, really fun finish. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen. But I think the other thing to talk about, maybe a little bit, at least mention, is Chase. I cannot say his name. Chase Fraser's first game for Vegas. Looked every bit the reason they brought him there. So and I would like to think he'll probably only really get better in that role as he goes. He was hurt, right? He missed their first game with.
I don't know what happened. One person I heard said he got hurt in warmups. The other one said he was sick and felt like he couldn't go. So I'm not gonna put anything on it. I don't know what happened, but yeah, he looked good. I thought all their stars looked good, honestly. I mean, you got Donnie with 5, Fraser with 4, Jones 7, 5 from Kluch. Like, I mean, that's solid. That's every bit of the hype that we were sold in the offseason.
What's crazy to me is knowing Chris Cloutier, both in the PLL and with the Bandits, as more of a finisher, of a goal scorer, and then to see him come out and have five assists, I was like, what?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing with Brennan, the first 2 games. Like sometimes, and that's honestly a sign to me that like they understand the game at a higher level, to where like this is what the team requires.
Yeah,
that's true. If Kluch is doing, I'm not saying he's going to do 5 assists a game, but like if he's getting something like that, like, and you're winning games, sure, like have those quiet nights, quote unquote, that you don't see it until you look at the box score and you're like, oh wow, he actually had a huge impact, But especially like when you have guys that can score almost at will. I mean, Donnie, Tony Malcolm, Frazier, Mitch Jones. Like it's like you need those guys that are going to just contribute because at some point it will be Cloutier's night to score, and then the rest of those guys kind of have to react accordingly. So I think it'll be a fun team to watch offensively.
Yeah. I'm hoping they keep it up. I actually, you mentioned Jonathan Domval. I was really impressed watching it again. Mostly being a PLL guy and him being kind of one of those like fringe guys that can score, can make plays, but is kind of a secondary figure on most on the PLL offenses that he's played on. It was fun to watch him kind of more in his element and playing well. So
also shout out to I think they had over 5,000 fans in the arena as well. I don't know what the arena holds, but shout out to those guys. I hope that continues to go up in Henderson.
I'm glad that you said that because I thought the arena looked pretty good as well. It's not Bandit Land, but it looked like a solid crowd, especially the Saskatchewan crowd was disappointing. I know it was because they had a lot of really bad weather and people couldn't get there, but it was interesting to go from Saskatchewan that usually has pretty good crowds and see a not so great crowd to move to Las Vegas and see a team that is kind of the opposite. They have traditionally not had great crowds, and to see a half decent crowd. They did mention in the broadcast something about there was like a big giant tournament in the area that this weekend, and that all of the people there were given tickets to the game.
It's good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see, and I hope that is something that people got to go and see and have fun and see a good game, and maybe that continues. But I'm glad that you said that because one, I really like that arena. Like it looked really good on TV. And then yeah, I thought they had a pretty good crowd. Let's look forward to this coming weekend. There are 5 games on the docket for the weekend. We have Saskatchewan playing Halifax, Philadelphia visiting Ottawa, Las Vegas playing the Rock, Georgia playing Colorado, and Buffalo on the road in Calgary. What of these 5 games are you kind of looking at?
Well, Saskatchewan Halifax first up. I don't have a favorite in this one because part of me is like Saskatchewan's kind of due based on what I'm expecting out of them. The other part of me is like Halifax has been really good over the first 2. So I'm just excited. I think there'll be a little bit of a clearer picture on who these teams are after this game. Philly and Ottawa is bound to be a good one with the way that both teams have been fighting. Same thing actually with the next game, Vegas Toronto. Kind of actually the same thing with Colorado Georgia, and then into the last game you got Buffalo Calgary, which I think Calgary's offense has been much better than we anticipated. So now I'm kind of curious to see, like, especially coming off of that last loss to Halifax, like how does Buffalo respond and how does Calgary step up to the challenge, especially being at home. So I'm glad that we have 5 games this weekend. I can't wait till we get all 7 again, but I'll take 5 this week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think there's something intriguing about every single one of these games. I really want to see Halifax play again. I think at least until it happens, I think there's going to be kind of every week is like, oh, is this the week that Halifax kind of reverts back to who they've been? Is this the week that Warren Hill has a bad game? Is it's going to be one of those things where you're just kind of constantly waiting for them to be Halifax and I don't know what the word is, screw the pooch, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure that I would see it happening against Saskatchewan, but it's probably, if it happens, it's probably going to come in some like wonky game like that. So you never know. I agree with you on Philly, Ottawa, 2 teams that feel like they're in very similar positions. Again, it should be, I think, another really fun, entertaining game. Vegas, Toronto. Yeah, I want to see this Vegas offense. I want to see if Toronto can start putting the pieces of their offense together. I think that could be a good test to them. That Vegas offense going against that Rock defense should be really a really fun battle to watch. Georgia and Colorado, I think we want to see if Georgia from this past weekend is Georgia, because they've been frustrating, but is Andrew Q going to play this weekend?
Not from my understanding. So the Mammoth had a fan thing this weekend where fans could go and like talk with the team, whatever. And someone that was there said that Pat Coyle said that he has a left thumb issue and has a pin in it currently. This is not me reporting that. This is not me saying this is official. This is me saying that's what someone said that allegedly talked to Pat Coyle. So if that's the case, he said that Pat Coyle told him he expects him to miss one more game. So we'll see.
There's a pin in his thumb, and he's only going to miss one more game.
That is what this person said. I'm not saying that that's accurate, right. But yeah, and again, I'm not an expert in like those types of injuries. I'm not totally sure what that necessarily means. So I would assume he'll be back then against Rochester January 3rd, but I'm not totally certain either.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. We're talking about a dude who earlier in this episode was talking about Zed Williams being back from an Achilles injury after 10 months. So clearly not a doctor. NLL idiot, not a doctor.
Gonna add that to your tagline.
Yeah. Yeah. But it seems crazy that he would, again, assuming that this is true, would have a pin in his thumb and would still be back, in a week or whatever. But back to what we were talking about, and then the final game, Buffalo Calgary. I think at this point in the season, I just want to see more of these teams. I want to see, like we said, I really enjoy this Calgary offense. Buffalo, the last time they were on the floor, they lost. It'll be interesting to see what they look like coming out of that. I think that's the game that you would probably feel the most comfortable about trying to pick a winner in, but it doesn't mean that Calgary is going to be bad or anything. So,
they haven't made any game easy so far.
No,
so
exactly.
Yeah. Again, I think it's hard because like the namesake of Buffalo makes you want to just immediately say Buffalo's going to win, but like, I think Calgary could absolutely play spoiler. But yeah.
You're gonna put an NLL genius on the line for that one?
No, I'm not.
No.
It's hard too because like this is the hard part about this type of scheduling. It's just you got some teams that have played 2 games, 1 game, 3 games. Yep. Like it's hard. I don't know where everyone is, even like fitness level wise. Like you can practice all you want, but it's very different from a game. And like I think Buffalo's coming off of a bye as well. How does that affect them? I think this is their first away game, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many factors that I'm kind of like...
Yes, because week 1 was the banner raising, and then they played Halifax in Buffalo.
Yeah, so just I'm curious to see that as well. Maybe they come out and they not shock us, but just say, hey, we're still the Bandits, which I wouldn't be surprised to see either.
Well, and it ain't all the way across to Vancouver, but we talked about a couple weeks ago. Calgary's not a close road. It ain't. They're not headed to Rochester or nothing. So, right. That's a fair point. Let's switch gears a little bit here and move over to some PLL. Oh wait, sorry, just kidding. I jumped the gun a little bit. We got something else to report on first. We're not reporters.
We're regurgitating.
To discuss. Regurgitating. We got something else to regurgitate, and that is the saga surrounding Jack Hanna and if and when and where he will be playing this season. So go, Brandon. I feel like you're like a wind up toy. I just gotta like crank it and then just let you go.
I mean, there's nothing really to say. I guess there is, because we didn't talk about it last week because it happened on
Right.
Friday. I want to say it was announced that the Mammoth offer sheeted Jack Hanna, which I know most people that were listening to this will know, but for the people in my DMs, he's a restricted free agent. So essentially, Vegas either had to trade him or he had to sign an offer sheet with the team, and then that allows Vegas the chance to match. So we kind of knew all weekend that like they were going to match because they lose absolutely nothing by doing so. Either they match it and he sits out still, which is, I mean, he did that to himself, but if he doesn't want to play, that's on him. Or they don't match and they lose him, which there was conflicting reports. Initially, it was reported that if they lost him, there was compensation coming back in the form of draft picks. And then Dan Arestia said, just kidding, because it was under the previous CBA that he was holding out, that actually Vegas would have lost him for free, which then that's why we were talking off camera about it just makes sense for them to match. And so ultimately, today the Mammoth put out a thing that says, we signed him, and everyone gets excited. And then like 2 minutes later, Teddy Jenner puts out that, just kidding, they did match. So nothing new necessarily on the news front, more so just that like now they will have to trade him if he's going to play in Colorado. I know Adam Levy kind of thought that he would maybe end up playing in Vegas this year, which that's still obviously an option. But it definitely is interesting to see kind of how this is going to shake out. Like, you know, and again, who knows why he's holding out either. Like, he could be holding out because he wanted those terms and Colorado gave them to him, and now Vegas matched it. So now it's maybe he'll go play in Vegas. I don't know. But interesting nonetheless. And again, I don't see Brad Self trading the necessary pieces to do it without a third team involved. If I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. But yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't recall this ever happening the same way aside from Delbs last year.
Yeah, that was the one.
So,
I did find it really interesting the Dan Arestia part, because did he start holding out? Because we didn't have a CBA.
Well, and that's what I was confused about was I don't really understand how. I guess technically because his rights were already owned, maybe under that old CBA, or somehow Dan is saying that it's tied to that, which I trust a lot of what Dan says. I'm not saying it, that he's wrong. I just don't personally understand the tie. Yeah. But that's also why I was like immediately texted you and I was like, they have to match this. Like, if you're getting nothing, like, even if he's not going to play, match it and deal with it later. Like, there's no point in you losing a guy like that, and then you have to play him too. Like, at this point, like, hey, if Jack wants to sit out, Jack's going to sit out. It sucks for Vegas, but at the same time, they're not having to play him as a result. So it's kind of a win-win for them.
Yeah. No, when we were watching the games in Last Lifers, Rob Josie messaged in there and was like, I just feel like he's not right. And I'm not saying Rob knows anything more or less than Dan does, or Dan could be wrong, could be right. Like, we don't know, but it just made a lot more sense to me when Rob said that. I was like, yeah, no, it feels like it should be under the current CBA. Like, there wasn't a CBA signed. Like, that was the whole deal all summer, was that there was no CBA. So how could he fall under the old? I don't know.
Here's the other thing too, though. It also feels very strange to, like, I believe Dawson was the one that put out the tweet about, if they lose him and he signed this contract, they'll get 2 firsts and a second and whatever picks. It feels very odd to me that if that was the case, Colorado would sign him to the max extension, knowing they're going to lose 2 first rounders and a second rounder, or whatever the top tier was, when they could have just offered that to Vegas in the first place. Which is why I'm like, I lean towards maybe Dan has some extra knowledge that would make that fall under that. Because otherwise, I'm like, why would Brad Self not just be like, hey, do you want 2 firsts and a second? Like,
yeah,
and maybe that was offered, full transparency. It just feels weird.
Well, and like we talked about, if it the matching the offer sheet, I mean, I guess you could make an argument for it per the old rules or per the new rules, but why match the offer sheet if you know that if he signs, you're going to get that in return, and if you match it, there's a very good chance, again, like you said, unless he just really wanted those terms, and he does plan to play for Las Vegas this year. But short of that being the case, why match the offer sheet and have him sit out like that? That doesn't make sense. Let him take the sign and take the back end of it. So I guess if you kind of follow it out logically, it does kind of seem like Dan is right, but it also feels like a whole mess. It feels like Dan shouldn't be right, even if he is actually right. But
and I mean, and the other thing too that I thought about is like, could it be that they had the offer sheet under the old CBA, but then he didn't actually sign it until the new CBA was put in place? So now there's a mixed understanding of the terms. Like I just don't know. I don't feel comfortable like hitting up Jack and be like, wait, what's going on? Hey, please
Jack,
don't do that, by the way, out there. Please don't message the athletes. But I would love some clarity. I will ask this weekend our media rep, just to kind of see like anything he can tell me, because I do just have questions, like even outside of just the lacrosse aspect. Like I don't understand what's going on with it. Which, I mean, hey, if he just wanted those terms, smart on Jack to, I guess, go and play hardball, kind of, I guess. But it does kind of feel like you're in the short term kind of halting your career. You know, especially only playing 3 years. Like it just feels like a weird thing, unless it was just a situation where, hey, I know my teammates are getting allegedly triple figures or six figures rather. Maybe he wants that. I don't know. It's just a fun situation, I think, to look at from an outside view. Sucks that this is kind of happening with a star player again, but hey, such is life.
Watch this. You know who is excited about seeing Jack Hanna not playing in the NLL right now?
Philadelphia
Waterdogs. Which brings us to PLL player movement.
That was not a Scotty Royster transition. He'd be very disappointed in you.
No, Scotty's too good. I don't know if you listened to his episode. They just did one last night, and he had one that was flawless.
I think he's the best in the game. I'm not gonna lie. That's reaching for the stars to try to reach that level.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to like. I'm gonna have to be like Eminem on the bus in 8 Mile, like writing down like transitions and trying to get better at them and work on them to get to his level. But that being said, let's talk some PLL player movement. Obviously, the huge big one again came out after we recorded last week, and that was the Waterdogs signing Defensive Player of the Year Gavin Adler to a 3-year deal. In my head, I was like, this is crazy. We have not seen anything like this. And then everyone was like, no, it actually happened 2 years ago. This exact thing happened 2 years ago when Garrett Epple was Player of the Year and signed with the Cannons. I would argue that Garrett Epple probably shouldn't have won Defensive Player of the Year that year, and that he was at the end of his, well, he's not at the end because obviously he's still playing, but was, at the end of his career, whereas Gavin Adler had just came off of his rookie deal. So very different ends of the spectrum. That being said, still the same thing. But I know you were probably on OTB. Wait, had it been announced when you did OTB last week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because I'm sure Kyle was amped.
Yeah, because he talked about it on the flagship program as well, which I think he recorded a day or two earlier.
That's right.
So I actually know for a fact it was out. Yeah, he's pretty excited.
I mean, what's not to be excited?
The rest of the league is not, but
No, this is like a huge shift in. from like every angle. Like their defense just got so much better.
Well, and they still got guys that are potentially going to be pushed out that are starters.
Yes,
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean they already had several of their. Well, I guess they're not official yet, are they? So we won't talk too much about them, but Scarpello and crap, who's the other one?
Liam Burns.
Liam Burns are supposedly signing with the Chaos. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another poll or two that leaves the Waterdogs as well.
Well, you got to think Gobrecht is. I mean, does he just ride the practice squad all year? Is that something he wants to do? Does he end up? I mean, I'm not saying he can't, push someone else out of a spot, but I'm just showing they have so many guys that like could start for them.
Yeah, right now their defense is Gavin Adler, Kenny Brower, Liam Burns, Jack DiBendetto, Jimmy Freehill, your boy, Eli Gobrecht, and Ben Randall.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of guys for a few spots.
And that's a lot of guys that are arguably starters on just about any team in the league. Liam Burns, if he does end up signing with, the Chaos, is probably a week 1 starter for Chaos. I'm not even sure. Even if you pull Liam Burns out of this, I'm not even sure who the 3 are that are started. I'd assume it's Ben Randall, Gavin Adler, and Kenny Brower.
I don't know. Good problem to have, though.
Well, yeah, for them, for sure. They also, the other thing that I think is interesting is they also got better because one of the few guys that Michael Sowers struggled with is Gavin Adler. So like you just took that big giant piece off of the board for your offense. So I mean, Dave Cottle making a big splash. So the next one, sticking with the Waterdogs here, is Tim Troutner signed a 1-year deal with the Waterdogs. They already have obviously Dylan Ward and Matt DeLuca. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Tim Troutner getting some time.
I don't think he will. I think this is a Champ Series signing more than anything.
They're not in the Champ Series.
Oh, you're right. They're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think it's less about him being a top 2 and him just being a training camp practice emergency type of thing. I still think they're going to have to give DeLuca a full season as a starter.
So even without the championship series, it could still be coverage for Dylan Ward in the NLL season.
I guess, but that seems like a pretty not a far-fetched thing, but just like something like. The thing is, if you're already going to have DeLuca there, who's started games for you, like I don't really know if you need to sign someone now. You know what I'm saying?
If Dylan Ward misses any games, they're going to have a backup goalie.
Sure. To me, it's just like, why sign someone now when you could just pick someone up for those couple of weeks or whatever it is, if it gets to that point. I understand what you're saying, but
that's also kind of why I'm like, I mean, he only sat because it was Liam Intimate. Otherwise, he'd have been the starter.
Sure, but then no one else picked him up.
No, he was on Atlas last year. He was the backup all last year. He just didn't play.
He really?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Holy cow! I thought for sure he just never got signed again.
No,
that's my apologies.
He was the backup last year.
My apologies, Tim. I thought for sure that he was just gone out of the league for a year.
Yeah, no, and that's part of my thing is I Tim Troutner was very good when he played.
I mean, he was an all-star that year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I replayed what you said. Yes. Yeah. He was an all-star that year, and we all went into it when they drafted Liam Intiman. It was like, oh, this is Liam Intiman's team, and the only option Tim Troutner had was to just play out of his mind, And he did. He did. And kept Liam Intiman on the bench for 5 games. Like that's a testament right there. So my thought is we'll see what if Dylan Ward looks like he did last year, or if he comes back to being good. But my point with DeLuca is DeLuca was performing last year. As you and I talked many times over the summer, they weren't winning games when he was in, but he was performing certainly better than Dylan Ward was last year, and they still were flip-flopping games with him. They could have committed to him last year, and they didn't. And I don't know that they're going to get a better shot to commit to Matt DeLuca than they did last year when they did not commit to him.
Yeah, but I could see them doing a whole let's like work our way into him being the starter type of deal.
I'm not saying they can't or necessarily that they won't. I just think Tim Troutner's not a guy I want nipping at my heels because he is good. Like, he's good and he's consistent, and I think he is really, really good, a really good shot stopper. And so when you have a good defense like the Waterdogs are probably going to have, I think it can make him look even better.
All right. So, hear me out. This is what needs to happen.
All right, let's hear it.
Troutner bumps Ward out of Philly. Ward comes and signs to be the Outlaws' backup. Problem solved. Cinema.
I mean,
think about it. Ward wouldn't have to play. He's gonna do the same thing anyway. He already lives here, so then you have an in-market guy.
Yep.
Another one. I'd buy all 4 or 5 of his jerseys. So you make money that way.
Let's put this down. 9:22 p.m. December 22nd, 2025. Brandon has made this prediction. Let's see where we are.
Wait, I'm not saying it's a prediction. I'm saying this is what should happen. But that's also me being like a Denver guy.
He's laying out but here's the thing. I agree with you. It makes total sense. Denver needs that backup. They need a solid like number 2. I think it would be good for Logan McNaney to have a veteran who has been there and done that at all levels in all versions of the game. Like, he's done it all. It makes so much sense that, like, I know you're not saying it is going to happen, but I'm saying mark it down, because when it does happen, we need to say it happened here, or we said it here first.
Not to mention, like, you get him back in an Outlaws jersey, which he's worn before. Like, I mean, we saw who was it that came back? Was it Eric Law? I forget who it was that they put on like a whole press tour when it was like he's back. I think it was Eric Law when we
I think so.
got him last year. Or was that last year? Or was that 2 years ago? It was last year.
Was it?
When did Atlas release him? Not I don't mean this past championship season. I mean the season before. I think it was. Either which way, when they were like putting out all the old photos of him and like that was a cool nostalgic thing to do. I'm just saying, I'm not saying they should dictate anything as a league. I'm just saying that would be pretty cool.
Well, and here's the thing. Look around the league. Where else, if he leaves Philly, where else does he go?
New York. I mean, now they need a backup.
Well, they have Will Mark signed to the roster right now. I'm pretty sure. I think I just saw that. And he's been in and around that squad for a while, because I think he's one of the guys that lives in New York. He went to Syracuse. Like, he's got all these connections. Kind of a similar thing to what you're talking about with Dylan Ward.
Who's California's backup? I'm blanking.
That's actually a really...
Probably should have had all these rosters pulled up before we start talking about them, but good podcasting.
We will just enthrall our listeners with us searching.
Jack Kelly technically is still there; he's out, but Matt Note, and then Zach. Is it Vig? Vigay?
Yes, that's that's the dude they just signed. I think it's kind of viewed more as a championship series move, but they did just sign him.
So I guess it depends
Kelly
on like, is Jack Kelly? He's on the pup list allegedly. So like, is he coming back? Is he done? But if he's not there, I could see him. I could see Dylan Ward maybe going over there if they need someone. I just think more than anything, like if he's going to stay in the league, that's not Philadelphia. I think Denver just makes the most sense because you can have so many local initiatives. He can be at all the signings. He's a guy that's loved by the fans here as well. So it's not like you're having to then reintroduce someone new. It's like, oh, this is Dylan Ward. Like, you know. And again, no slight to Owen McElroy, but like he's only been in the league, 3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, I think even though McNaney was a dog last year, he could benefit from having someone who's, like you said, has been there, done that, won championships. Like, I'm always going to advocate for like a young guy along with a veteran. So I think that makes the most sense. And that's also, again, me being extremely biased and something that I want to see as a fan. So take that what you will.
Not an Outlaws fan, you know, like I would like to see it. I think it makes so much sense. If he's going to leave Philly, that is the landing spot that makes the most sense. Even over a Cali, which is a somewhat similar situation. Like you said, there's so much stuff that he can do off the field, and I don't want, like you said, I don't want the PLL to necessarily be pulling strings. But in a situation like this, it's like, why not? Yep. Why not?
Plus, I mean, if Mike Manley retires, 37's opened up. If Mike Manley decides to come back, he can wear 45 in the field game, which I think would be a first for him. I'm not totally sure. That'd be kind of sick. I think he's worn 37.
First that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah.
So anyway, long topic, long discussion about Dylan Ward, but
two more. We'll move on to two more PLL moves. The first one is probably the bigger one to talk about. The other one is slightly smaller, but the Chaos signed Brendan Nichtern to a 1-year deal. I don't know about you. I love this move. I said for the last 18 months now or whatever that Chaos should go get Rob Pennell. I'm not saying Brendan Nichtern is Rob Pennell, but he can be that quarterback back at X for them, just like he was for Chrome. What was that? 2 years ago, 3 years ago now? Jeez.
Yeah.
It's moving so fast, but I think he could really, really unlock Owen Hiltz and Jackson Eicher and really kind of control that offense and bring them some stability for them. And it's a 1-year deal, so if for some reason he doesn't, you know, you're not out too much. But I think he'll be a great fit for that team. And maybe we push Joshua Watt out a little bit.
All right.
No, I take that back. I'm just kidding, because I did actually like Joshua Watt a good amount with the Chaos last year. But I would like to see maybe Joshua Watt move around a little bit more.
I think they should just sign every military guy they can moving forward.
The Chaos will just be, they used to be the Canadian box team, and now they'll just be the military team. Okay.
Yeah, like every training camp's just a full-on boot camp. No lacrosse is being played. We're just,
no lacrosses.
The last day they're like, all right, all of you guys now made the team. We can play lacrosse now. Nice job doing, mud crawls and whatever else. And I'm just saying.
Here's my question for you. Does Josh Iago count?
I don't know if he only played, 2 years at Air Force?
Was it 2? I thought it was 3.
Maybe. Well, I see. So this is where my lack of knowledge comes into play. I thought if you're going to transfer out, you had to do it like prior to 2 years. Because isn't it where you have to commit to like serving after 2 years?
Dude, I wish I could tell you. I didn't even realize you were able to. I knew it before Josh Iago did it. But it was sometime, I had at least been in the Air Force for several years, if not after I got out of the Air Force, that I realized that players could transfer.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
thought you were stuck there, and then one of their football players did
yeah,
it a year or two ago, and I was like, wait, you're allowed to do that? And then I thought someone told me that it's because you have to do it before you like contractually, sign the dotted line essentially to say like I'm going to serve or something. But that could be totally off, which I don't know.
it appears to be totally off because he's listed at Notre Dame as a graduate student. So he's not even a senior or a junior or anything. He's a graduate student.
So then is he going to go back to serve then? After like maybe you can transfer for sports, but you have to then still go serve your military duties. I don't know.
That would be, and again, I was in the Air Force. I don't know. That would be weird.
I say we count him anyway. For the sake of the experiment, we'll count him.
Yeah, I feel like if he I'm looking at this article from Inside Lacrosse. I was hoping maybe they would mention like how he I
don't know.
Because
all I know is
I don't understand.
Roy Colsey heard it here first. You need to draft Josh. First chance you get.
Yeah. Do it, Roy.
Someone's gonna listen to this and be like, they said they need to draft Josh. Yeah, I'll go and da-da-da-da.
Listen, the dude is a baller.
He is. He's nice.
And I think he will. Let's see what he does at Notre Dame before we get too crazy about him at the next level. But presuming that he carries on the way, in theory, he was a baller at Air Force. If he is somewhat similar at Notre Dame, he's going to have all the attention in the world on him for this season. I really have I have no idea how this works. He was a senior, so he must have graduated. Which dude, that blows my mind.
I don't know.
You know what? I'll try to find an answer for you. My cousin will be with my family for the holidays. She is an officer in the Air Force currently. I'll see if she knows anything about how you get in and out. Cause yeah, I didn't think you could transfer. And then I was kind of like you, like, oh, maybe you can transfer up into a point, but he was a senior in the spring. So it would stand to reason that he graduated. That's why he's a graduate transfer. I have no idea how it works, but we'll see if we can find it out. The last one to talk about briefly, the Whipsnakes signed Jake Posey through 2028, which is a really big deal.
Isn't it Jack?
Yes, it is Jack. I don't know why I said Jake. No idea.
I mean, they
literally
did
looking at it on the screen.
They did re-sign Jake Bernhardt.
They
signed a Jack and a Jake. There we go.
Yeah. The Jack Posey one, though, was funny to me because I think Jack Posey is a good player. I think he could be a good signing for Maryland. It was a little funny to me to hear all these Maryland fans, all these Whipsnakes fans that were like so amped on getting Jack Posey because Jack Posey started in Carolina last year. He played 5 games. And then the Chaos drafted Jack McDonald, never played Jack McDonald, traded Jack McDonald for what's his name? Scott, or what's his last name? Scott.
No, I think his first name was Scott. Second.
I always get it confused.
Because we mixed up him and Ross Scott at one point.
Yeah. Scott Smith, yes.
Yeah.
So they traded Jack McDonald to the Whipsnakes for Scott Smith. Scott Smith took Jack Posey's starting spot, a guy that was not playing for the Whipsnakes in Scott Smith, took Jack Posey's starting spot for the Carolina Chaos. and then they just signed it. It was like, it feels like, and I'm not, again, I like Jack Posey. I'm not saying that this is actually the case, but it feels like they, in 3 different ways, traded down the roster of, or at 3 different times, they traded down the roster of Poles that the Chaos had, because they traded for Jack McDonald, traded away Scott Smith, and then traded for, or then signed Jack Posey, who none of those guys were starting.
So
I don't
you're
know.
saying that the Carolina
really
Chaos are a farm team for the Maryland Whipsnakes?
in a really bizarre way.
I mean, the Whips are also
It
losing a guy to military service as well. So maybe they're just like, hey, this is a guy we've seen play a few times. Like, I don't know. Obviously they're probably going to draft someone as well, but
this is the draft for polls, so you know, I don't know.
Speaking of polls, are we going to get Warren Jeffrey in an Outlaws uniform this year?
What do you know that I don't?
I don't know anything. That's a genuine question. Like, I would like him to sign with us, please. I noticed he didn't sign with the Archers right away, so
you know what drives me crazy is there are 2 separate now PLL transaction pages. There's one that's tracking all of the signings that are happening right now, and then there's like the normal one.
I see, like the roster.
And I can't. If you go to their website and you click transactions, you go to the old transactions page, which is still relatively up to date, but not completely.
The last one I see on there is Josh Byrne.
Yeah, and then you have to click the player movement tracker. That is also the transaction. It's the same thing. It's just a different.
Where in the world is that?
If you click the tabs and then open up, it's right above transactions. Player movement.
Oh, I see it. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and you click that, and that's where you get the list of all of the people that are, you know, technically free agents right now, and if and when they have signed with someone else.
Well, hey, as long as Brad Self doesn't trade Warren Jeffrey for Jack Hanna, bring Jeffrey on down to the Outlaws. Full-time Colorado. Him and Wardo, full-time Denver boys. I'm just saying. I see the vision.
I gotta think they wouldn't let Warren Jeffrey leave, especially after Colby Bars left. That's when we talked about that one last week, right? That Colby Bars. Yeah. And I guess we should talk. I didn't put any other news on there, but I guess we should say that move made a lot more sense when Bryce Young retired.
Yep.
At the end of last week. I was like, oh, okay. Now I kind of thought one of Bryce Young or Garrett Epple was going to be retiring, maybe even both of them, but only Bryce Young has announced it at this point. But so yeah, that move kind of made sense. So the one last kind of note to talk about, you and I won't have a ton to talk about with it, but the WLL had their waiver wire, which I don't know why they called it a waiver wire. It was basically an entry draft. I don't know why they called it a waiver wire. But probably the big note, you and I will not. I shouldn't say will not. We'd love to. We will make ourselves look stupid if we talk too much about WLL draft waiver wire, whatever moves. But there were kind of the 2 big names that signed with the Maryland Charm were the reigning Women's World Box Lacrosse Championship MVP, Allie Kennedy, and arguably the best player from the NCAA last year in Ashley Humphrey, both signed with the Maryland Charm, adding to Sydney Black and who was their goalie? Kaylee Waters, I think, was their goalie. And then obviously Alex Ostholman, Lizzie Colson retired, but that team that they should be significantly improved, and I'm excited to see them on the field during the championship series. So, like I said, we won't dive too much into WLL and make ourselves look stupid, but yeah, I guess that will kind of wrap it up for us there. Before we head out of here, Brandon, what's your week looking like? It's Christmas, man.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Just I mean I have 3 different family celebrations, kind of back to back to back, and then I got Mammoth Home Opener Saturday. So about time. It took over a month. I'm
Yeah.
ready to be back. So yeah, kind of got to get back in my photo mode. I haven't done, I mean, anything in a couple of weeks now, but I'm hoping to get back into it. We'll kind of see what the future holds. And at least right now, I got back-to-back Mammoth games, which is cool. And then kind of jumping back into college lacrosse like pretty soon after that too. But anyway, as far as this week goes, just I mean, back-to-back Christmas stuff, which is fun. So.
No, it's funny that you say that because I had kind of an epiphany towards the end of last week of like, oh, we have like 7 weeks until the start of college lacrosse season. Like it's coming quick. So yeah, we're wife and I are headed down to North Carolina. It'll be the first time I've been in North Carolina since last Thanksgiving. So over a year now since I've been home. So headed down there for this week, but then and then we're going to a Devils game this weekend. We're coming when we come back up. We're stopping in New Jersey to visit Caitlin's college best friend. We're going to a Devils game, which is going to be weird.
Do you not like the Devils?
No. Why would I like the Devils?
I don't know who your teams are.
Well, it ain't the Devils.
Maybe you're a Hurricanes fan. Maybe you're not. I don't know.
I am a Hurricanes fan. I'm also a Blackhawks fan from pre-Hurricanes. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry about that one.
Which one?
The Blackhawks. We're kind of running the Central right now.
Dude, the Blackhawks are having some trouble. But kind of like you were talking about last week, like I've seen the Blackhawks win 3 Stanley Cups. Like
That's fair. That's fair. You're satisfied as a fan.
I feel fairly good. Like yeah, it's kind of sucked since 2015 mostly, but
that's how it was with the Broncos though. Literally same lineup, 2015, and since then it was just bad. So like, it's once you get that winning feeling again, nothing else matters. It's just you're happy to be here at that point.
Yeah. No. Pretty much. Actually, now that I think about it, 2015 is probably the last like good sports season I had because Duke won a championship in 2015. The Blackhawks won a championship in 2015. The Panthers went to the Super Bowl in 2015. Unfortunately, we don't have to talk about that, but they
we can talk about it if you want.
No, we don't. No, we don't want to talk about it. We
I don't know what happened. I don't remember what.
Nothing good. Nothing worth discussing happened.
I mean, Von Miller would disagree, but
nope. No. I don't even know who that is.
Oh man,
I've forgotten who that is.
What a shame.
Yeah, and then I mean, Manchester United's last title was 2013. So
wow, so you had a really good like 2-year run there.
Dude, from 2010 when Duke won their first championship, dude, it was insane. Duke basketball won in 2010. Duke basketball won in. I take it back. Duke lacrosse's last championship was 2014, not 2015.
I mean, it's still a good time.
Duke basketball's last championship was 2015. But yeah, I mean that 5-year run from 2010 to 2015, all my teams were just like everything, and I've basically just been paying for it ever since 2015. Nobody has won anything since.
Hey, at least you can say that you've seen your teams win. I know some people who have never seen their team even sniff a championship, and I'm like,
that's true.
I do feel kind of bad because like that's like the highest of high, like, to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's one of those things.
Luckily for me, I'm gonna have a 3-peat this year. Broncos, Nuggets, and Avs, baby. We're coming for all of it.
Oh, I thought you were coming out as a Bandits fan.
Oh, no, never that.
I have a very tough time believing that those 3 teams are all winning a championship this year.
They probably won't, but but it's fun having them all be at least lightly contenders.
Yeah.
Broncos. I still have some questions about the Broncos, but I'm not a huge hockey person, which is funny. But like I try to keep up with it at least because I recognize that this time period is like very like the championship windows can close any moment.
Oh yeah.
So it's I'm trying to get into it, but lacrosse is just so much better. But that's another topic, another day.
I love hockey. I love hockey. I don't get to watch it much. Like I think we have talked about several times in the last couple of weeks. I've had to kind of pare down what I'm watching a bit. But I love hockey. And the one good team that I've had has been the Hurricanes. In the last 10 years, it's the Hurricanes. But to your point, they have not won anything in that time period, and it definitely feels like that window is if not closed, it's closing. They're still pretty good this year. Who knows?
They're top of their division right now.
Yeah. Luckily we have a pretty good I think front office and like coaching staff right now, and so it seems like no matter what changes, we're still pretty good. But like you're saying, how long is that window open?
I know.
Anyway, that is going to do it for this week. If you want to keep the conversation going, the best place to do that is the Lax Lifers Club. That is our community, and it is at its core a free Discord where you can talk all versions of lacrosse with other lifers who care about the game as much as you do. If you want to go a step further, there are some optional paid tiers that help support the show and other things that we are doing. It will unlock episodes 48 hours early, give you access to exclusive hangouts, earn extra Discord roles and channels, and some merch that's only available to members. Totally optional, but it's there if you want deeper access. All of the links are linked in the show notes and in the description if you are watching on YouTube. You can also find us on social. Brandon is at Hoot Sports Media, and I am Neil Barrett. That is on all platforms. Wherever you are listening, make sure you are subscribed. And if you've got a second to rate or review the show, it genuinely helps us so much. But have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and until 2026, we will catch you guys in the comments.